Industrial Talk is brought to you by Armis. Yes, you are in the digital transformation game. Yes, you need to find trusted companies, trusted individuals to help you along with that journey. The Armis platform delivers complete asset intelligence. You know what that means? Insights into your connected assets. You're in the digital transformation game, you have to have that insights into what is connected. Go to armis.com, find out more. You will not be disappointed. Also, Industry IoT Consortium. At Industrial Talk, we always talk about education. We always talk about collaboration. We're always talking about innovation. And if you're a business that has any desire to be resilient to the future, you need to be able to educate, collaborate, as well as innovate with other industry professionals. That's a must. Industry IoT Consortium brings that all together. You need to be a part of this community. You need to be connected with these leaders that are all a part of the Industry IoT Consortium. Go out to iiconsortium.org, find out more. Again, you will not be disappointed. You're just going to be happy. All right, welcome back to Industrial Talk, and thank you very much for supporting this platform that celebrates industry professionals all around the world, and I'm pointing at you on the video. Now, you can tell by the noise in the background, we were on site at IoT Solutions World Congress. Barcelona, Spain was the town, and that is a must-attend event. You need to attend that event. All the contact and all the information for that event will be out on industrialtalk.com. Now, we had the opportunity to speak to Marc Peters, distinguished engineer with IBM, about responsible computing. Now, you're saying to yourself, Scott, I don't know what that means. ResponsibleComputing.net. They have a consortium, and they are defining what that is. And here's a definition: ensuring that your IT organization is a responsible contributor to and an advocate for the planet's sustainability development goals. Yes, noble. Yes, important. And yes, IT needs to be a part of that conversation. Now go out to ResponsibleComputing.net. All of the information is out there, and how you can get involved, and it is an important component. And Marc Peters, of course, you're going to have his contact information out on Industrial Talk. So here's Marc. Enjoy the conversation on responsible computing. Thank you for coming back, Marc. Because he has to blaze out of here. And so I had to make sure that we get him on the podcast again before he has to get on a plane and go back home, I guess. You're going back home?
Yes, I'm flying back home.
You couldn't extend it another day?
You have to know that due to the conference, there are so many people visiting the IoT conference in Barcelona these days, and there is also a second conference taking place. So it was rather challenging to find a hotel room for another night. So it was easier to
just hang out. We got an extra bed in ours. It's true. That other conference is pretty big too. I mean, yeah, it's pretty big. It's lively and it's fun. All right. We had a prior conversation with Marc Organ, and we were talking about the consortium that has just originally been kicked off here a few hours ago, called Responsible Computing. I think it's a good opportunity, Marc, to expand a little bit upon that. Give us a little history behind why this is important. I get it. For the listeners, help us understand a little bit about that.
Yes, so maybe I start with a small story. So I used to be the CTO for energy, environment, utilities for EMEA for more than 10 years. And I started to be on stage for conferences and talking about different things that were targeting energy and maintenance scenarios, AI, machine learning, whatever new technology stuff. And then I said that there is more that needs to be talked about. And the more was around environment, because that became part of my role on one side, but also something that is relevant for my family. I'm married, have 3 kids, so I also want to have that world that we are currently living in, being ready for them to live in the future. And looking at the newspaper from one of the academia, and that was in 2019, I have seen a model that comes from the Foundation for Future Generation. It's a Brussels-based foundation, and they came up with a model they call 4P model. And the P's are standing for people, planet, prosperity, and participation. And I said that is a brilliant model because it is addressing the feelings that individuals have, it's addressing the challenges that organizations are facing, and it is opening up through the fourth piece, so the participation, the way of interacting and engaging for individuals. Looking at the announcement of the OMG Consortium for Responsible Computing, these four Ps are also at the heart of what we want to do and what we want to achieve and what we have already been doing in the last 3 years as part of the IBM initiatives that we have been doing, first of all, internally.
I find the necessity for an organization or a body like this consortium even more needed today than ever before. And we spoke briefly about it. And I think that what's interesting is the necessity to be engaged, to be a part of it, to participate. So have you done, for this consortium, you're not starting from scratch, right? Have you sort of begun taking the information and the insights provided by other consortium members and then begin to build this organization?
Yes. So while we started, we put together a team of 100 IBMers. These were all volunteers. And they participated not because they were forced to, but because they thought there was a very good combination of technology talk and individual interest that is going alongside that subject. And we were formalizing some of the framework, some of the ideas, but we clearly said at the beginning already, this is nothing that we can do by ourselves only. We want to validate our initial ideas with others. So that's where we started the first thinking around a council or consortium, and we reached out to different industries like the financial services sector, telecommunications industry, energy industry, consulting industry. And with these participants, we were discussing, hey, is it crazy what we have in our mind, or is it reflecting what you also experience and feel? And you can imagine that looking back 2 years from now, in the past, most people were thinking about cloud and public cloud and technology. So if I, as a CTO, was going to a customer talking about cloud and technology, they were just leaning back and it's another guy talking about cloud and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Whereby when we talked about responsible computing and the ideas and the necessity, you got full attention of everyone listening in. And you were feeling really this intense thinking that they started to do on how this would be applicable for their own industry, for their own organization, or for them individually. And that's also where we reached out to more and more organizations and asking, hey, would you like to join the council? How would we need to formalize it? And one of the feedback was that we would like to join, but we don't want it to be an enterprise-driven organization. We want it to be more neutral. So we approached the OMG Object Management Group to see if they would have appetite in engaging and collaborating with us. And we found with OMG a great partner that invested into it. That said, yes, that's something where we feel not only proud of doing it, but where we think that we can make a difference by even bringing our own network into the discussion.
Did you, with that idea, spot on, don't get me wrong, was there any sort of pushback, like companies saying, I get it, but we have it our own? I mean, any pushback on being a part of that organization? Like, hey, this is our stuff, that type of thing.
So it's, first of all, it's a very interesting question, and I just need to spend some time to figure out how to best answer it because I have an answer that I will not openly share here now, because this is something that I cannot do.
I didn't mean to pop you with that question. It would just be something that I can imagine somebody saying, well, I don't know.
Let me do it more anonymized. So large organizations have structures and have plans and visions. So although the topic was resonating with most of them immediately, some said that by themselves, the structure and the idea is something that they have already been doing since years, and they are more advanced. and therefore would not like to engage into this type of discussion, or would not like to have their name associated with others in the same context. So that's one side of it. The other side is, as you are working with large organizations, you always have to follow a certain process to convince the stakeholders to get a message on what's in it for them. And there need to be a sustainability message, but there need to be also a business message, a value message, whereby looking at current discussions. So remember that it started 2 years ago, and now we are 2 years more into the discussions.
Right.
We see more and more organizations say that the responsibility side is something we need to do, and the commercial aspects are only second priority. So we really see now a shift happen in the discussion.
So the hook is the fact that I think that there's a lot of pressure from a responsibility perspective, and that's environmental. Is that?
Responsibility is environmental on one side, but it's also equitability. So it's about people, it's about bias, it's about diversity. So the societal aspects that come into it. And societal is not just how we talk to each other, but how we apply data to it. How do we apply code to it? How do we apply AI to it? What's the impact of a big data center of a hyperscaler that you build up in a small community? What's happening to the groundwater? So there is an interconnection of different aspects that most people are even not aware of.
No.
Where we see the interconnection happen in the responsible computing consortium and also in the frameworks that we have defined.
So what I do hear is that there's societal motivators for companies to participate, to find answers, to do it the right way. And I would imagine there's some financial component to that too.
There is always a financial component, but I'm not here to discuss about that one. Let's rather take an example. You probably have heard about the war for talents.
Okay.
So where do you get new talents for your business?
Oh yeah.
And how do you attract talents? You can attract talents by money. Yes, but that's looking at the current new generation coming in. That's not the only factor. You can attract them by fancy work environments, but with the pandemic situation, fancy work environments are not so en vogue as it has been 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So what is attracting young, motivated people to join your organization? And that's something that is more close to their heart. So it's about societal aspects. It's about collaboration. It's about the future of the planet. It's about environment. So that's where you can come in when you change your thinking and the way you address responsible computing in your organization.
Yeah, you're firing on all cylinders. That workforce component is a hot topic for many to figure out what's the solution, and I think you're absolutely spot on. From a consortium perspective, and I'm just trying to get sort of order of magnitude. What size? Like, let's say we have 100 seats, but go through the process of what this consortium, how it sort of operates.
Yes, so the consortium currently has 2 founding members. It's Dell and IBM.
Yes.
But it's just a coincidence that these are technology companies. So we are in the process of having other industries joining, because the value of the consortium lies not within having a computer manufacturers or consulting organizations only working together. It comes much more from having manufacturers joining, health organizations joining, government bodies joining, because if you want to have an impact with responsible computing, this is about all the industries. So it's not just the tech industry that is concerned with technology.
Yeah.
Digitization is happening everywhere. So everyone has a technology component.
See, and I like that. And it's not sort of in a silo. This goes across multiple disciplines, multiple industries, multiple whatever, because it is something that needs collaboration through conversations, and not just that. There's an action component. It's one thing to have that conversation, and you're right, and everybody's saying, you're right, but you've got tangible deliverables too. that are available or will be available or envisioned to be available to industries to draw from and then be able to also, learn.
Yeah, all of that. So
Yeah.
I only mentioned the founding members, but we also have academia, so Purdue University
see?
joining. We have the BCS, British Computing Society joining. So organizations also aligning to it, and by aligning, we mean that they are adhering to the Manifesto for Responsible Computing, so the values and principles. And each and every individual can also adhere to this principle, so that individuals can join the consortium. They can get aware of what's going on. And as part of creating or launching the consortium, IBM is also donating part of what we have been doing in the past. So that's including the manifesto, it's including the maturity assessment model to give it a kickstart into the consortium and to build on it together with the members.
Do you have any real timeline? I mean, it's happening now. You've kicked it off at the IoT Solutions World Congress here. What are some sort of milestone events that you might have laid out as a result of that?
So that will be ultimately up to the consortium members to define the timeline. But the work groups are planned to start next week already along the 6th dimension of the framework.
There you go.
And then we hope for sure to have the IoT conference here also as a big starter for other organizations willing to join it.
Just for the sake of understanding, can you repeat what the 6 dimensions are?
Oh, definitely. So it's a hexagon of hexagons. It's built up with responsible computing data center, responsible computing infrastructure, responsible computing code, responsible computing data usage, responsible computing systems, and responsible computing impact. It's a hexagon because all of these are interconnected, but they are not mandatory to deploy or to use. So organizations can start with any of these, and we have also defined pathways towards one or several of these dimensions.
All right. Let me ask you this, one last question. Is there an easy way for somebody that says, hey, I really want to get going. I need help. I need to be able. How do you just sort of make it simple and easy for somebody to get a hold of what's going on here?
So I think the easiest way is to reach out to responsiblecomputing.net, read through the material, and then connect with the consortium.
See, I like that. Couldn't get .com? So somebody else had a .com?
Good question.
All right. His name is Marc Peters. And we were talking once again about responsible computing. I highly recommend that you go out to responsiblecomputing.net, right? Find out more. You got to be engaged here. It's a must. So that's responsiblecomputing.net. Again, Marc, you did a great job. I enjoyed that conversation. Yeah. All right. Once again, we're broadcasting from IoT Solutions World Congress. It's an excellent event. You get people like Marc Peters here doing some incredible things, creating consortiums, and it's all about collaboration. You need to collaborate with people like Marc and others because you got to be on this journey. All right, we're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk and supporting this platform that celebrates industry professionals all around the world. That's you too. That's you. And we've got some action items from that conversation. Now, thank you to Marc Peters. Thank you for sharing what you have about responsible computing, important stuff. Now, you, listener, need to go out to responsiblecomputing.net. Look around the website, easy to navigate, clear, concise information, and you need to think about getting involved with this particular consortium. The other, action item is that we talk about IoT Solutions World Congress, Barcelona, January 31st through February 2nd, 2023. The link is out there on Industrial Talk. Absolutely fantastic event. Great people, great leaders sharing their insights, solving problems, and definitely contributing to improving industry, manufacturing, utilities, you name it. It's happening at IoT Solutions World Congress. So go out to that website at Industrial Talk. Get that information. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Marc, Responsible Computing. And again, you're going to change the world. Thank you once again. We're going to have another incredible conversation from IoT Solutions World Congress. So do not go away. We will be back with another great chat.